This is a targeting of human fertility, of human 1.0, because they're phasing it out. This is a simulation. And the limits of the simulation at this level of it is the speed of light. When you create a computer game, virtual reality game, the creator writes the rules. What would we call that in the case of this being a simulation? The laws of physics. When you come into this reality, the human world, what are they telling you from cradle to grave to self-identify yourself with? They're saying, you are a man, you are a woman, you are something in between, you are this sexuality, you are that race, you are this religion, you are that income bracket. All these labels, that's who you are. But if you self-identify with those labels, you're self-identifying with limitation. We can only see this tiny narrow band of frequency called visible light. And the force that is manipulating human society is operating outside the band of frequency that we can see.
So ultimately, how do we escape the trap? Being aware of it, then changing your energy, trying to vibrate at a higher energy source.
The way out of the trap is to realize there is no trap. If you self-identify with being that level of spirit that is beyond the simulation, that level of spirit that is all that is, has been, and ever can be, that is eternal, indestructible, and infinite, and that's who you are, then you're out here. Know who you are, and it's over. Believe who they want you to believe you are. Tyranny.
The world is changing. Inspiration is everywhere. It has never been so easy to connect, share, and bring people together. We're learning from others and finding the best in ourselves. Challenging our beliefs. Sharing our vulnerability. Overcoming our fears. Transforming ourselves so we can transform the world. How far can we go?
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is...
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is David Icke, the English author, broadcaster, and public speaker. For the past 30 years, you've been known as a professional conspiracy researcher, making it your mission to expose who and what is really controlling the world. You are the author of over 20 books and have lectured in over 25 countries, speaking live for up to 10 hours to tens of thousands of people, delivering incredibly accurate predictions to captivated audiences from all walks of life. Your research into prominent political figures, influential family bloodlines, global events, and the pandemic has received widespread criticism from the mainstream media. But in turn, you have fostered a legion of fans who have grown tired of the government cover-ups, big tech censorship, and the global manipulation efforts that have become an increasing presence in our everyday lives. In 2020, you and I conducted an epic series of 5 record-breaking, long-form live broadcasts which fundamentally changed the world, allowing tens of millions of people access to an alternative narrative that was crucial in understanding the complicated and challenging times that we faced. Your latest book, The Trap, explores the anti-human agenda that is being orchestrated by a force beyond our reasonable perception, a force that has been manipulating and controlling world events in what can best be described as a virtual reality computer game. As I've said before, David, while I don't agree with everything you say, I will defend to the death your right to say it. I'm excited for this conversation today, the 10th in our long history, and as usual, I'll be amazed if we make it through this broadcast without being blocked, banned, censored, and deleted once again. David, welcome back to London Real.
Thank you, Brian.
It's great to have you here. I want to start by reminding everybody that we are streaming live on our Digital Freedom platform, which is a censorship-free, independent broadcasting system built in 2020 that's of the people, by the people, for the people, and available exclusively on our website at freedomplatform.tv. Can everyone watching now please share this link via the sidebar to any and all of your social media channels, Telegram chats, or email lists? Let me repeat that. Can everyone watching please share this link now via the sidebar to any and all of your channels? This is important. Simply ask your friends and family to give us 15 minutes and then they can decide. During our 5 conversations in 2020, nearly 75% of our viewers came from sharing this episode link peer-to-peer. So please share this now to all of your contacts and your platforms. David, I pledge to you and everyone watching this that none of this conversation will be edited, censored, removed, or banned, and that anyone in the world can watch the full version of this episode free at freedomplatform.tv. Now, David, the time has come. Let us begin. What is the trap?
Well, I started out 32 years ago, not knowing where it was going. And the first few years were about how the people that appear to be running the world are not. And actually there's another force behind them that's driving the direction of human society. And from about 96 onwards, as I traveled around America, first of all, I started coming into the understanding that behind that network, which we can talk about and how it works, that's behind the direction of human society and has taken us to where we are now, is a non-human force. And then from about, just after the turn of the millennium, I got intuitively, so strongly and powerfully, this is a simulation. And the limits of the simulation at this level of it is the speed of light. So the speed of light is not the fastest speed possible. That's a joke. But it's the fastest speed perceivable, if you like, in this level of the simulation. Imagine a virtual reality holographic computer game. In the spring of 2021, an article appeared in Scientific American, a mainstream scientific magazine, written by an academic scientist, saying that he had concluded that we live in a simulation and the limit of the simulation is the speed of light. And he related the speed of light, quite rightly, I would say, to processing speed. As I've been saying over the years, when you create a computer game, virtual reality game, the creator writes the rules of the game. The limits, what can happen, what can't happen, how things work. Press enter. What would we call that in the case of this being a simulation? We would call that the laws of physics. The laws of physics. The laws of physics are the rules of the game written into the simulation. And this academic scientist in Scientific American, 20-odd years later, made that point and said that although the creator can write the rules, the laws of physics, he's always still going to be limited by the processing speed that's possible, which he related, like I say, quite rightly to the speed of light. So by the time I came around to writing The Trap, I had put together how the world is controlled and directed at this level, the world of the scene. I put together how that level, what I call the global cult, is actually being driven by a non-human force that we can't see for reasons that are very, very simple to explain. And then I'm looking at the fact that this is a simulation. And as I started writing The Trap, a sequence began again, which I have experienced so many times since 1990. A subject will come into my life out of nowhere, like the simulation did. And then suddenly information starts coming to me synchronistically from multiple sources about that subject. And because I've experienced it so often, and what I've gleaned from that process has turned out, with the passage of what we call time, to be so accurate, then I'm obviously aware of here we go again. And what was coming to me while I was writing the book from various sources is that this simulation doesn't end, is not confined to the world of the seen. And I should say that in that period between me saying and writing in the early, just after the turn of the millennium, that this is a simulation and the speed of light is the limit, increasing, and I mean increasing numbers of mainstream scientists have come out and said, it does look like we live in a simulation, because if you take the simulation and all that entails, then it's the only thing really that answers the great mysteries that otherwise can't be answered. So we've had Rich Turrell at NASA, in the computer section of NASA, saying he believes that this is a holographic digital simulation, which is what I've been saying since the turn of the millennium. And by definition, if it's a simulation, it has to be created by some force because it's not, quote, natural. Then you have James Gates, a former scientific advisor to Barack Obama, who led a team which concluded this does look like we're in a simulation. They found phenomena in the energetic fabric of this reality that was the same as what you find in computerization and computers. Then there's Silas Bean, a physicist who led a team at the University of Bonn into, is this a simulation?
Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.
And they concluded it almost certainly was, and was probably, in their view, based on a matrix of cubes, a cube-like construct. So when I was writing The Trap, obviously what I'm doing all the time is I'm pushing the cutting edge and I'm pushing the limits, because I've always worked, Brian, on the principle expressed, it's said, by Socrates in ancient Greece: wisdom is knowing how little we know. So if we come to why we can't see this non-human force, you'll kind of grasp, people will grasp why that statement, wisdom is knowing how little we know, is not only so true, but so bloody obvious. Because if I said to people, when you look through your eyes, can you see everything in the space you're looking at? Most people would say, yeah, mate, of course I can. Yeah, of course I can, yeah. Well, you can't. What we can see is the most ridiculously tiny range of frequency. It's almost laughable. According to mainstream science, the electromagnetic spectrum, which is overwhelmingly this reality, is 0.005% of what exists in the universe, in energy in all its different forms. Visible light, which is the only band of frequency that we can see, everything we see now is within that band of frequency, is a fraction of the 0.005%. So humans are blind, basically. And so what we're being asked to believe, going back to Socrates, is that we can glean an understanding of what we need to understand by just looking within that tiny band of frequency, visible light, that we call the human world, the material world of the seen. It's ridiculous. And if you look at religions on that basis, they are saying that all you need to know, and if you don't accept this, you're a blasphemer, is between the covers of a single book within a smear of 0.005% of what exists in the universe. So like I say, wisdom is knowing how little we know. It's not only blatantly true, it's breathtakingly bloody obvious. And that's why I keep pushing the edge, because at any point I know there's always more to know. So as I was putting the trap together and all this information was coming towards me, I started to think, well, a number of things. First of all, if this is a simulation, and for most of the human population, this simulation is not a nice place. It's a very challenging place. It's a very sinister place. It's a very unpleasant place. You know, there's people in the West that, you know, kind of live a decent life that they're quite happy with, although increasingly fewer as the economy collapses. But you look at most of the world, you look at Africa, South America, Central America, much of Asia, and you're looking at people really struggling. They're having really challenging lives. And again, you look around the West and you see how many more and more people are going through the same experience. So the question was, why the bloody hell would anyone come here? Why would consciousness enter this reality? And then there was a bigger question. Having experienced it, why would you come back? What? Because I've looked at what we call reincarnation over the years of my.
I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year is going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone. Also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline.
I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up. If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make?
My 30-odd years, and the evidence for it is actually overwhelming. If you look at the experiences of near-death experiences and you look at the amazing, massive number of stories of little children describing their previous lives before their head shuts down, and when the facts, detailed facts, are checked out, they are absolutely exactly right. Now, that's happened so many times to so many people all over the world. Obviously, you know, you go, whoa, this stuff's real. So we go back to the question, okay, reincarnation, okay, I accept that that is happening. But why would people keep coming back into this reality when it's a shite hole for enormous numbers of the human population? And then you ask, or you look at why we're told it's happening by the Eastern religions. And the New Age, which is the Eastern religions moved west, in fact. And they'll tell you that what happens is you have to keep reincarnating to learn lessons, to evolve to a level of enlightenment where you can not have to keep on the cycle of reincarnation. So, okay. According to the estimates of mainstream science, compared with the perceived size of the universe, planet Earth is the equivalent of a billionth of a pinhead. Okay. So I'm being asked to believe here that you have to keep reincarnating onto, even in this one universe, never mind all the other realities, you have to keep incarnating onto this billionth of a pinhead to learn the lessons to not have to do it. What? And then, why, if you're learning lessons and building on previous lessons to reach enlightenment, why do you forget the lessons you're supposed to have already learned when you come here and you start with a blank sheet of paper again? It makes no sense. It's frankly ridiculous from my perspective. But I also have become convinced from the evidence I've seen over 32 years that reincarnation is real. So what the hell is going on? Well, how about this simulation is not confined to this level that we call the human world, but there are other levels of it which we call the spirit world. And what if, when people leave the body, if they are not at a state of awareness, what the Eastern religions would call enlightenment, to be vibrating to a frequency which comes from your perceptual state, to get out of the frequency bubble that this simulation is on all its different levels. Well, how about you just go back into the cycle and you keep recycling, not actually onto a billionth of a pinhead, but from one, although it just appears like that, but you're actually reincarnating from other levels of the simulation into this level of the simulation, and it just goes on and on and on. And what if, just as people are bewildered by what the hell this world is and what's happening, that when you leave the body, if you've not reached a certain level of awareness of what the hell's going on, which is what the book's all about, then you're bewildered in another way, and you believe, just as you believe you're here for this reason, that reason, or you're here to learn lessons or whatever you believe, outside of this, still in the simulation, you believe that you have to keep coming back here to learn lessons to get out of the cycle. And it was interesting to me that when you look at ancient cultures and cultural beliefs, they do believe in this cycler movement in and out of this reality. And there's a very old esoteric concept of what they call the ring pass knot. The ring pass knot is perceived to be a limit, you could symbolize it as the outer rim of a bubble, that if you're not in a certain vibrational state, i.e. state of awareness, which is why they relate enlightenment to getting out of here, then you can't get through the ring pass knot. Other beliefs and religious beliefs talk about the Ouroboros, which is the snake eating its own tail, which is symbolic of this limit, this ring pass knot. And so it becomes clear to me that the trap is much bigger than just the manipulation of this reality that we call the human world. It goes beyond that, well beyond that. So you come into this world to learn lessons, but what happens? You suffer from emotional and mental traumas and challenges. It pulls you into depression, into anxiety, into fear, the four-letter word that controls the world and if actually controls the simulation in all its forms. And you leave the body overwhelmingly in a low vibrational state, so you don't get out of here. The idea is that you keep control of perception, i.e. frequency, to the point where no one gets out of here. And you know, there are traps everywhere. Like there's the trap of, it's about reincarnation and learning lessons. It's a freaking trap. It's not about learning lessons. We don't have to learn lessons. We are all that is, has been, and ever can be. We don't have to learn lessons to stop incarnating on a billionth of a pinhead or into this level of the simulation, whichever you choose to symbolize it as. We can reach our own state of enlightenment just by the realization of who we are. And if you look at when you come into this reality, the human world, what are they telling you from cradle to grave to self-identify yourself with? The body and the labels of a human life. They're saying you are a man, you are a woman, you are something in between. You are this sexuality, you are that race, you are this religion, you are that income bracket, all these labels, that's who you are. And if you perceive yourself in those incredibly limited terms, because they're not who we are, they are experiences that who we are, consciousness is briefly having in a human life. But if you self-identify with those labels, you're self-identifying with limitation. When you self-identify with limitation, your sense of limitation becomes expressed vibrationally in a low vibrational state.
Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I am just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
This course has been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just an overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.
Which means when you leave this reality, this human reality, you're in a vibrational state that stays in the cycle, round and round and round it goes. And, the other part of the trap is, where did the simulation come from? And I've been writing about this for quite a while. As Rich Terrell at NASA said, if this is a simulation, which he believes it is, who the hell created it? And this brings us to that question I posed earlier. Why can't we see that which is manipulating us in a non-human form, as I say it is? Well, because we can only see this tiny narrow band of frequency called visible light. And the force that is manipulating human society, controlling the simulation, actually created the simulation to enslave us by enslaving our perception. It's what the simulation is, enslavement of perception, is operating outside the band of frequency that we can see. And if we call this reality the third dimension, keep it simple, and higher or another level of frequency high enough for us not to be able to see it. The fourth dimension is what spiritual people call the astral dimension or the astral plane. When people talk about astral traveling, it's actually traveling with the mind, because the fourth dimension, the astral dimension, is the dimension of mind. And it's from there that this reality is manipulated, controlled, and orchestrated from. And if you look at, you talk to people about other dimensions, even if they accept that that's real, they perceive other dimensions to be way out there. Oh my God, they're way out there, these other dimensions. Well, some of them are. Some of them in frequency terms are so far from the frequency band that we're operating in, it's just ridiculous how far away they are. But other dimensions like this astral dimension, the lower level of it, the lower frequency level of it, actually is fusing into this. It bleeds into this reality. And if you look at how they describe the lower levels of the astral plane, the fourth dimension, what they call the lower astral, and you talk to people in different ancient cultures, you talk to people in the spiritual movements of today, they'll say that's the place where the demons are. That's the place where the demonic consciousness is. That's where the darkness is, as they would call it. And I've been looking at this over the years, over the decades. And then you ask, when these people do their satanic rituals, and these major players in this global cult, they're big time into Satanism, been writing about this in detail for a long time. And then you look back and to the ancients who were sacrificing people to the gods. And then you look at the Greek gods, Zeus and all the others. Then you look at the New Age concept of the Great White Brotherhood, which is a hierarchy of basically master souls. And you look at that from a one step back point of view, and you see they're all talking about the same thing. So who are these gods that people worship? Who are these gods they make sacrifices to? They are the demonic consciousness in all its different forms in the lower level of this astral dimension, which in frequency terms is so close to this one, but not close enough for us to see it. And so when they're making sacrifices to the gods, they're doing their rituals to the gods, they are interacting with this non-human level in the lower astral, which is ultimately orchestrating the simulation and orchestrating human society. So if we go back to the global cult, the global cult can be symbolized, and I'm talking about that operates in the world of the seen, and its impact becoming more and more obvious, not least since the COVID hoax was played. You can symbolize it very accurately as like a spider's web. Think of a spider's web around the planet. And in the center of the spider's web is the spider. Now, ultimately, that spider are these lower fourth dimensional, lower astral, quote, gods, actually, bunch of prats. And the strands in the web immediately around the spider are the most exclusive secret societies. They will have the biggest picture of all the secret societies of what the hell's going on and what's behind it. So they will be directly interacting with these gods.
Without knowing they're gods.
Oh no, they know what they're doing.
Know.
Okay. Yeah, but I'll come to that too, because
so a few thousand people know they're gods.
Yeah,
maybe less.
Those gods, quote gods in this lower astral, they also impact upon this reality through certain people. The whole process of possession goes back to the ancient world. They've been talking about possession since the ancient world. I've seen possessed people. I've seen them. I've seen what happens to them. They are completely taken over by another consciousness, another state of awareness. And if they're taken over by this demonic consciousness, and I've seen it, then you see a totally transformed person. So a lot of the people that have become now more and more well known for their manipulation of human society, they are actually just vehicles for these lower astral, quote, gods. So you have the spider, you have the web, and each strand in the web is a secret society, a semi-secret group, or a government agency, Silicon Valley, World Health Organization in the world of the seen. So you've got the agenda for humanity being driven by this non-human force. You've got then the web within our reality that its job is to make that agenda happen. So immediately around the spider, you've got the exclusive secret society. It's the most exclusive. Then you're coming out from the spider, and you're hitting the secret societies we do know about. The Freemasons, the real inner core, not Bill and Joe down the local lodge. You're looking at the Knights Templar, the Knights of Malta, Opus Dei, the inner core of the Jesuit order. There's the Skull and Bones Society in America. They're legion. And we know they exist, unlike the ones immediately around the spider, but we don't know ultimately what they're doing. You know, if you don't research it anyway, the population doesn't know. And then you come to a point on the web as you come out, which I call the cusp. And this is the point where the hidden part of the web, the secret society part of the web, meets the seen. And at that cusp, you've got organizations like the Bilderberg Group, the Council on Foreign Relations in America, the Trilateral Commission, the Club of Rome that was created in 1968 to specifically exploit the environment and environmental concerns to justify the centralization of global power. This whole global warming stuff has come out of that. And also at this cusp, you have this explosion now of think tanks and non-governmental organizations, many of which are funded by people like Soros. And their job is to take the agenda coming out from the hidden and to play it out in the seen through governments, government agencies, the banking system, corporations, Silicon Valley, the World Health Organization, the big pharma cartel, etc. And if you don't realize that this global cult web exists, then everything seems random. Organizations seem random. They don't seem connected. Situations seem random. They don't seem connected. They're dots. They're not connected dots, which is very simple the more you know to connect them. But the point is that this web means that at the inner core of the World Health Organization, it connects into the web. At the inner core of the Silicon Valley corporations, it connects into the web. At the inner core of the big pharma cartel, it connects into the web. At the inner core of the regulators who's supposed to protect us from big pharma, like the CDC and the FDA in America, and the MHRA in Britain, they connect into the web. So suddenly the world looks different. When the COVID hoax narrative was played out, if you remember, Silicon Valley corporations said almost immediately, your YouTubes and your, well, I know about that, and your Facebooks, we are going to censor people that question the...
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.